We've been blessed with just having some beautiful park facilities out here.
I like woods golf. I think that's where the finesse comes in. It's not just bombs and lots of power, and I think that's the most challenging part of disc golf.
It's not all about distance. We see scores affected by the wind here every year, affected by the tight wooded fairways.
Out here, it can get a little frustrating because you can be just a little off. When you pure the line, it's really rewarding and you're gaining strokes.
I will no longer be playing the Waco Open just due to my injury. I just feel like it's a smart choice right now.
It's my first tournament back, and I try not to put any expectations on me. As an athlete and as a competitive spirit, it's something that's very hard to do.
I would like to consider myself still one of the top players in the game, and I come out here to compete at the highest level.
Some of these holes, I feel like I'm seeing the fairway more. No, I feel really good with my game and how it fits this course.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Prodigy. We're at the Beast, located alongside the Brazos River. Paige Pierce making her return for the first time here in 2023. Excited to see what she can do. She has taken this event down in the past, and right now she's looking to gear up for another banner season. Welcome in, everyone. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined alongside four-time world champ and Hall of Famer in Val Jankins. And Val, Kristen Tatar is also back. During the offseason, she very openly spoke of the injury that she had. She tried to address it with surgery. It looks like everything is going well. What do you think we can expect from her this weekend?
Only time will tell. I know that she has had a few months to kind of get back into the swing of things, start prepping for the season, but there's nothing like coming back on tour and having that competition right there trying to track you down. She's the #1 player. Everyone's eyes are on her.
And understandably so, after the year she had last year, taking down multiple events. Of course, here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, also being crowned our world champion for the first time. Some would say they think that may be the first of many in store for Kristen Tatar.
And to think she's going through winning all these tournaments with an injury. Her elbow was affecting her, but she did not let it stop her. She was unstoppable last year.
Feels like her only injury is from hoisting all those trophies, but thanks to blackinkdisc.com, the premium disc golf store, you've got some keys to success out here, Val.
Yeah, this is a very technical course, so you need to have your strategy, whether it's in the open or in the woods. And I think from those severe changes, you need to have that mindful reset. You need to focus in on the task at hand, whether it's the technical shot or reading the wind. And you never know what's going to happen. You could get a bad kick. You could go out of bounds in the open. Prepare for anything. And again, have that strategy and game plan when something goes awry in that game plan.
And with that, we're going to head over to the fourth. Here we have Ella Hansen. She's off to a great start. She's birdied the first 3 holes here today.
Yeah, hole 4 is the first hole where they get into the woods. It's a mindful reset, and it looks like she hit the line.
She's ready to go. Very excited about doing such.
Okay, first on the box for your 9:04 tee time from Arlington, Texas, Lydia Lyons. Woo! Second on the tee for your 9:04 tee time from Charlotte, North Carolina, Paige Shue. Third on the tee for your 9:04 tee time from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Katrina Allen. And rounding out your 9:04 tee time from Beacon, New York, Missy Gannon.
And as they get into position, we'll check back in with Ella Hansen. Here's her second on hole number 4. I think that was fist pump worthy as well. She just contained herself. As we're going to take a look at our UDisc course close up out here at the Brazos Park East, otherwise known as the Beast. It was designed and established in 2003 thanks to Joey Harrell. Texas number 3 disc golf course out of 643, so quite the honors there. Our FPO layout features a par 67 at 7,677 feet, one of the shortest courses we'll find on the Disc Golf Pro Tour until August. And in 2022, we saw that hole 2 had the highest birdie rate at 40%. That looks to be happening here today in the early goings. But check out UDisc, the app for disc golfers.
Hole 1, our second card, made it pretty exciting. There's OB surrounding this basket. You can see just over that wall that Missy's looking at.
A good bid by Gannon, but just off the front of the cage. Tentative approach here by Lydia Lyons. Lydia's dad on the bag today.
And it's that putting stroke right there for Katrina Allen. If she can stay locked in just like that, she's going to be unbeatable. I mean, she has all parts of her game dialed in, but it's always come down to putting for her.
And what we saw from her at Las Vegas, it felt like she is very comfortable with where her stroke, her routine, everything is on the green. Like you said, if she can keep it going, she's going to be hard to beat.
No pictures on the scorecard for Paige Shue, and she is thankful for that. She'll take the birdie on hole 1.
Paige off to had a very rough go over at Las Vegas, so not the way she was hoping to kick off her season. We'll see if she can get things going here in Waco. Back to Ella Hansen, trying to make it 4 for 4 to start off her event. Making it look easy. What a great start for Ella. Looks like we've got Brian Earhart down on the ground with the PDGA zone. Hayden Henry, let's check in with him now.
Standing here at hole 1 with PDGA's Hayden Henry. Little chilly this morning, but much, much better than we've seen in years past, conditions-wise. How are you feeling about this course this week?
Night and day compared to what we were experiencing last year. A little bit of breeze, a little chill, but it should be a nice weekend. The course looks incredible. It's green down here in Central Texas, which is pretty rare for this time of the year, and just a great course. I think a fan favorite, a player favorite. We get in the woods, we get a little open, we get a little bit of everything. So long-running course on the Elite Series, and excited to be here.
Yeah, the general consensus this week is that the players have truly enjoyed the conditions, and they're really excited to be playing a course like this, even though it's one of the shortest courses on the tour. Let's flip to the PDGA side. Big milestone just was reached. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we recently issued number 249,999, and very quickly after that hit 250,000. So shout out to Mark in South Carolina for hitting that, a 250,000 member mark. Just another exciting milestone, another exciting thing to watch transpire. And we see our active numbers rising daily. Tournament season is here, so excited to be here in Waco in the Elite Series, and excited about every other PGA tournament going on around the world right now.
Not only is everything on the professional side of disc golf growing like crazy, the amateur side and just the recreational side as well. Big milestone for the PDGA. Back to you in the booth.
So great to hear from them, as I know we were creeping around that number at Las Vegas just a few weeks ago, and now seeing that we've reached more than 250,000 PDGA members.
And I'm thinking, how cool is that to be the 250,000th PDGA member? It's just chosen by when you sign up. So timing was crucial there. So congrats to Mark. Welcome to the PDGA. Hole number 2, par 4, 531 feet, so relatively short for par 4. And Missy leaves her drive a little short.
Now Ella Hansen on the tee of 5. Again, a great start. She's 4 for 4.
Dead on line, hits short of the pin, uses the dirt to skip up right next to the basket.
Got a Christian arrival on 3.
And as we mentioned earlier, Kristen Tatar back. This is her first in 2023, and as we said, coming back from an elbow injury and surgery in the offseason. She talked about how her elbow, she wasn't able to fully get the rest and the full recovery that she would like to. She also didn't get all of the practice in, so she feels almost as if this weekend is going to be part of that routine and getting herself back in the swing. She did say, too, that she doesn't have a lot of expectations for herself.
And no matter how many tournaments you played, when you're walking up to the first tee for the first event of the season, there's always those jitters, that little bit of anxiety, that little bit of nervousness, but also excitement. And so Kristen, she's had a long journey for recovery, and I can't wait to see what she's got for us this season.
And a great second shot there by Missy Gannon. We saw in the UDisc course close-up that it had played at 40% birdie rate. Well, speaking of birdie rates, 100% birdie rate for Ella Hansen. She is 5 for 5 to open up the event. Currently hole 2, though, playing at 52% birdie rate.
And this event is one we speak of where there's a new winner just about every year. And because it is a little bit shorter than most courses we see out on tour, anybody that can throw about 350 feet on any one of these holes, you have that chance for birdie. And we know distance is no problem for Ella Hansen, But to see her so dialed in on technical shots in the woods, that's huge. That really shows us that she is locked in on this course.
Lydia Lyon's second shot locked in inside the bullseye, looking to pick up a birdie. Katrina will match the effort we just saw by Lydia. Can keep it rolling. Here she is on the tee of 6. Back to Paige Shue on 2.
Everyone's circling the basket. Slight breeze, slight tailwind. It's definitely helping on these first couple of holes.
Now Hansen trying to go 6 for 6. Ella Hansen still our leader. We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
This year, Prodigy is celebrating its 10th year as a disc golf disc manufacturer. In the beginning of this journey, we found out that making discs isn't so easy. It wasn't too long in the process that something just clicked. To celebrate Prodigy's 10-year anniversary, we wanted to bring an old plastic back that you can find in some older runs of M4s, but it is not a plastic from Prodigy's current selection. You will see this logo more on our 10-year anniversary special releases.
This looks perfect. Off the basket. Now it's rolling. It's headed for the OB. This needs to sit. Oh my goodness. It's safe. Right on the line. She's going to have about a 30-foot putt for the win. Okay, here we go. The putt is up. Boom. It's in. Strong side with authority. What an incredible moment. Yes.
I think this golfing can improve our community in many ways. It brings people together.
That maybe some of these kids who feel a little bit lost could find something like disc golf, find friends, find people to come together and play the sport.
Encouraging people to work together, kids to know one another, love one another.
A way for these kids to have a really fun thing to do together.
I think that's what we need in the world, love one another.
What people are going to notice when they pick up the Supreme Series is superior grip, superior durability.
The inspiration of creating a new disc line for Dynamic Disc was to actually step up the quality even more.
Our friends over at Latitude 64 have to have special molds made. And this Supreme line of plastic is truly a premium plastic. It's a premium disc, and you will know it when you touch it and when you throw it, that it's as good as it gets.
The Force has been my staple driver ever since I've started throwing Discraft. And when I lose one, I know I can go straight back to the shelf and get a brand new one, and I know it's going to be very overstable and reliable. The Force is
The Waco Annual Charity Open is presented by Prodigy. Prodigy, unleash your potential. And welcome back. As we were seeing Ella Hansen off to such an incredible start. 5 under through the first 6 rounds. Feels like she's really setting the pace out there, Val. Or the first 6 holes as opposed to the first 6 rounds. What are we in our 4th round or 5th round of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season? I'm getting ahead of myself here, Val.
Sure
So
are.
excited!
But Ella would take that prediction any day. Our lead card looks like they're ready.
Second in order for your 9:20 tee time from Estonia, Kristen Tatar. Third in the order for your 9:20 tee time from Norway, Lucky Lorentzen. Rounding out your 9:20 tee time from Frisco, Texas, Caroline Henderson.
And Val, during Paige Shu's opening shot, we saw her pull it to the right. Looks like we have a few of those from our final feature card. But first, Katrina Allen with her second shot. That should be a tap-in par for Katrina on hole 3. Now with Ella Hansen on the tee of 7.
And just leaves that way too far to the right, kicks to the left. She still has to fight her way down the tunnel. Paige never made it back in bounds. Last place inbounds was on the safe side here near the tee.
And as good of a recovery shot as she could have thrown. Looks like she should be able to save bogey from there.
Yeah.
Caroline will have a nearly identical spot here as what we just saw from Pierce.
She's safe.
You spoke a few moments ago of those first hole jitters. She might be experiencing some of that at the moment. Here's Paige Shu trying to go 3 for 3 to open up her round. So not necessarily dead center on a few of the putts, but it doesn't matter. She's 3 for 3. Off to a great start. Here's Ella Hansen throwing her next shot.
Wow, Ella actually landed in a pretty fortunate spot to have that open look. That second shot's just a placement shot. There's another tunnel, and it kind of goes right off to the right.
And Texas's own Lisa Fakis also off to a great start. She's 5 under through 8.
And Lisa Fakis, she actually has the most wins here at Waco. 4 wins under her belt. Juliana Corver and Des Redding tied up at 3 wins. And then Paige Pierce, 2 wins in the recent years.
And thanks to our friends over at Statmando for all the great details and analysis. Trying to make us look a little bit smarter, Val. I'll take all the help I can get.
So still, this is a touchy shot. Again, out of bounds over that wall on the right-hand side. But she's got to make sure that she has the distance, and that'll work. So Ella is long of that opening. There's the tunnel, there's the basket, and there's a valley in between there. So she'll be on the hillside, putting up at the basket.
That will be to save her par. So we'll see if she can keep this great start rolling without heading into or finding any speed bumps out there. Overview look at Tournament Central. The bigger pond on the top right side of your screen. That's hole number 18. And from this perspective, Val, hole 1 looks like there's plenty of space out there. It doesn't feel like it when you're standing on that tee, though.
That was a confident release. She was going for that putt, just an inch too short.
Nervous.
You heard Paige say it. Nervous. Tentative, short, and the world champ nervous? That's a good sign, right, Val?
Yeah, it's a great sign. That means she's trying. I mean, she wants it to happen. And you just need one of those to kind of wake yourself up, to get yourself going.
First opportunity at birdie in 2023, and of course Kristen is right there, takes advantage of it, off to a great start. Head over to hole number 3. This is Missy Gannon for par. We've seen the previous 3 shots, so now Ella trying to save her par. This is some work to do, especially with the footing.
And she didn't even lift that back leg, which is interesting. But seemed to have enough power, just not online.
We've got Brian Earhart on the ground, and it looked like there was a tailwind on 1. Is that what we're going to see on both 1 and 18 for the day, Brian?
You know, it's actually switching very subtly. I felt straight tailwind on 1. Then I walked to the green of 1 that's blowing crosswind right to left. I think that explained why some of the drives earlier in the day were lifting so much. This is just pretty par for the course here at Waco. You can't really expect to get something consistent out here.
All right, Brian, we're seeing temperature at 54 degrees thanks to our friends over at Canna. Humidity is up, but as we said, it feels like maybe a little reprieve from what they had in Las Vegas. It wasn't really nice there until the final round. Today, we're getting things started off much more mild conditions, and Kristen putting it straight up the fairway, no problem. That's going to be in great position for an easy up and down.
And what I'm noticing, Kristen throwing a backhand. that seemed to be the shot that hurt her elbow the most last season, and she avoided it as much as she could. But she had full power on that one.
Luque connects with the tree and stays in bounds on the right side of the fairway.
And there's still a great opportunity to save your par, even get the birdie, even with a short drive. But this is the kind of shot you want.
This looks like trouble heading off to the right side, but it appears to hook up at the last moment, and she'll remain in bounds. Holding her breath for a moment there on the tee of 2. Here's Paige Shue on the tee of 4.
Now when you get into these woods, having that reset, maybe disking down so you make sure you're landing in the fairway. It's a reachable par 3, especially with the forehand. Not bad, she'll have a putt.
As we're taking a look at the birdie zone here found on hole number 2. Paige Pierce, along with Caroline, way up in front, and Kristen Sitar on that left side. Luque out of position, but as you said, she may still have a good recovery shot that could get her up and down to look for a birdie. And speaking of birdie, you could go out there to Kickstarter. I believe it just opened in the last couple of days. Go out there and support and pick up your own version of Birdie Pro. Shue with her second on 4. Looking for some help to maybe kick her out back into the fairway.
Yeah, she needed some right hand turn on that one to get back into the fairway. And it was interesting hearing from Brian about how the wind is switching up and changing, because on hole 1 it seemed like a tailwind, which would make the discs more stable, make them hyzer out. But we're seeing the drives here on hole 2 out of Luque and Caroline turning over, getting closer to the lake and the river and even the sidewalk out of bounds. So something the players need to be aware of.
And just when they feel like they get it dialed in, it's going to switch on them.
Right.
As Brian was alluding to here, we're going to see a forehand from Caroline. Also lining up a forehand now, Katrina Allen. This will be her second shot on hole 4.
Bringing about a quarter of her bag in there with her.
I'd like to have options. Looked early from what I could see. It looked like it was pushing off to the right side. So Kat will have work to do. Here's Ella Hansen for birdie on 8. And the last 2 putts, or the only 2 putts that she had previously missed, were all a little bit short and left. This one, it looks like she might have overcorrected and was to the right. So now she'll have an uphill putt coming back for the par save on 8. Here's Kristen with her second. And we can put that birdie on the scorecard. So Pierce looking to negate the rough start that she had.
Got a nice crowd out there following our featured card. And what a card to watch. Current world champion. You've got Paige Pierce, the hometown girl or the home state girl. Caroline as well. Got international flair and Texas flair all in one card.
Again, we saw in the U-Discourse close-up that this averaged at 40% birdie rate today. That's going to be closer to 60%. Telling you how easy and attackable hole 2 can be here in the early goings. One you certainly need to pick up.
And especially when the wind is down. This hole seems very easy this morning. But I've seen it in past years. When that wind picks up, it is not so easy.
So Kat was on the left side of the fairway. Her approach then put her here on this right side, short right side of the fairway. And lining up another forehand. And that doesn't get through. She's going to be in circle 2 for her par save. Ella Hansen now for her par save, and this one is in.
That was a much more confident putt from Ella. That first one just looked so nervous and so jittery. That one was full commitment.
Paige exploring all options. I don't think she really likes any of them. Effective. She's out, has a putt.
She is going to be excited about that one. The rough is so rough out here.
So finish left side of pin in circle 2. And right out of her hand, that did not look like the line that Paige had envisioned. Pulled off to the right, so she'll also be in circle 2 with an uphill putt.
Oh, and the line was looking good and continued to carry over to the right. Got hung up by the tree. The basket is surrounded at this point. Let's see if Caroline can break through that and get near the circle. Just 320 feet.
And she won't be too far from Pierce. Likely an open uphill putt.
It's amazing how the strokes can add up in the woods. You have your game plan, maybe your drive's a little off, and then things just don't go according to plan, just like that for Katrina. But she's under the basket. It's kind of that reset if you have a bad first hole in the woods. Get your mind back focused in at the task at hand, because the holes aren't going to get any easier. Great approach there from Luke Gay. is that slight drop off heading down toward the river. That seemed to check up.
I'm going to throw it out to Brian for a moment. Brian, within the press conference, we heard of some new trees that are out there. Specifically, we see it looks like there's a couple on hole 3. Do they come into play?
Oh, they absolutely come into play, Terry. Just 2 little baby trees planted right in the middle of that low skipping line, which a lot of players took to get to the basket normally. But now with these trees, even the way they are now, completely change the shot the players want to throw. It's just making it that much harder to take the stock hyzer to the basket.
Appreciate the insight, Brian, as this feels like a hole that you step up to and almost feels like not a gimme, but definitely on the easier side, but they're trying to make it a little more challenging.
The challenge also comes with this hillside. The fact that the basket's perched up on this hill. If you're a little too far to the right, this is the putt you're looking at. Then add an elevated basket just to make it more difficult.
Caroline had the height, but not on line. No problem with the comebacker, as I'm noticing Kristen in the background sporting gloves out here. Made sure to bring those over from Estonia. Missy Gannon has this left for her par here on hole number 4. Right side chain and in. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Since then, the PDGA, members, players, event directors, and volunteers have worked to realize that dream. From the very first baskets to courses around the world. And yet, it's only the beginning. We're looking to the horizon with even bigger dreams for tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Innova Team Captain Nate Sexton. Welcome to our instructional disc golf series. Maybe even bank over to the right, and that's going to give the putt loft, slight flex line, so you'll see this come out a little bit higher to give you a variety of different shot shapes. The farthest away player
Number 4 with Kristen.
And if you're going to go off the fairway, the left-hand side is the preferred side to land on.
And here's Katrina Allen's second shot on 5. This hole just 264 feet. Kat hung up off of her drive and now will be on the left side with some work to do to save the par.
Paige was following the same route as Kristen, but I think those trees helped. And she's in the middle at least. I don't know how much help they did.
Left side trouble for Luque. And as we just saw there, it is possible to throw 2 straight here on hole number 4. Now Katrina Allen from circle 2. This is just to save the par on 5. Confident. Center chain, good power, pressure, authority, everything. Katrina Allen doing work here on 5.
Again, the second part of this hole, just got to get down the tunnel and then it fades off to the right and heads toward the river.
Too much angle on that for Pierce, so she will have a look at the basket, but at best, getting up and down for par is what seems to be in store for her. And Brian, I think we just heard Caroline say something about pitching out. Is she completely out of position out there on 4?
Yeah, I don't think there's really an option unless she throws kind of a trick roller, but that's just a really tough spot to be, and I think a 4 is pretty solid from there.
And you notice that she was walking up the fairway. She's looking at where she wants her shot to land. That's a very pro experienced type of move because you don't want to just pitch up. You're kind of surrendering the shot. You want it to be worth it that you're pitching out. You want that shot to be in a great position.
So less than 50 feet of effort, but playing for the position, as you just said.
Yeah, you know, you see those players, they get a little frustrated because they didn't hit the line off the tee and they just go up and just throw it back into the fairway. But if you're not in a good spot, you wasted that shot. You've wasted an opportunity to save yourself on this hole.
And not a bad kick there for Kristen. So she'll have a circle 2 look at birdie. And Luque had thrown her second, so she's now approaching her 3rd.
I feel like that tree, that closest tree, that makes all the difference. of wherever you landed on the fairway. Do you go outside or do you play inside of this tree to get the right angle to get near the basket and inside the circle?
And Paige Shue gets back on track with a birdie on 5.
Great angle out of her hand. That disc needed a little more overstability to work itself back to the right. But great line.
Here's Ella Hansen throwing her second shot on 9.
We'll just follow her reaction, I guess.
Shue off the tee of 6.
Ooh, and that was a little speedy. She is safe, but she's going to have that uphill putt for her par.
Now seeing Evelina Salonen. This is her second shot on 9, and what a spot to be off the drive. The fact that she is just looking at the basket from that short distance and will have an eagle look from where you just saw that approach land. Incredible. Luque looking at a bogey here on 4.
Kristen deep inside circle 2. The drop off behind the basket. See if she goes for this one. Of course she goes for this one.
It just barely flops out for her from that right side. She even had the high leg kick to bring it in. Doesn't quite get it to fall. So great effort, but just off the mark for Kristen.
That's why we love having Kristen Tatar in the field. It's putts like that most players, they'd simply lay up underneath the pin, but Kristen makes it look so effortless to have the power to reach the basket.
Yeah, one thing she talked about a lot last year, every time we interviewed her or thought about if she was going to be aggressive, she basically said, well, if I can see the basket, yeah, then I should be trying to make it.
If you're confident in the comeback putt, and more power to her.
Down in the very bottom of your screen is where you see Paige's yellowish green disc, not far from the river's edge. What a vantage point we're getting from right over the river here. I love it.
Yeah, back in the day, we would have a cameraman on the boat floating down the river. Now we've got a drone.
Oh, and a connection for Pierce. What a putt.
No more nerves for Paige. That was a huge save.
Caroline for par. Gonna roll that Zuka replay from another angle. Paige Pierce, left side chain, gets it to drop. Saving the par on 4. Now Paige Shue with her second on hole number 6. Little forehand flick, just trying to match the grade. And that'll be an easy tap in for par.
And we are really seeing the player utilizing their backhand shots and their forehand shots. You need all skill sets to play on this course, and especially in the woods, not knowing where your tee shot's going to land or how bad of a kick you're going to get. It's nice to be able to throw different angles to save yourself, to get yourself back in position. And we are seeing all the players these days using both backhand and forehand and looking very confident in those shots.
And up on the top of your screen where I'm seeing the cars parked, that's incredible to show that we have that many spectators, that they're already parked off in that position. It tells me that the parking lot is full, and just a great turnout here early in the morning here on Friday, opening day.
Hole 5. It's a tunnel shot heading uphill to the basket. So they need to make sure they're throwing their disc on line, but that their disc is also holding that straight flight path to get enough distance to reach the basket.
Hole 4. That was a 4 for me. Kristen? 4. Luca? 5. Caroline? 5.
Double checking all the scores are right.
That is as good as it gets. Perfect height, perfect flip. She hit on top of the hill and didn't even have to rely on much of a skip.
Here's overturned, but it kicks back out. Now to the other Paige, Paige Shue here on the tee of 7. And perfectly hitting the gap. That should set her up for a second shot over the valley we saw earlier.
A little too much flip on that one, but she punched through the trees. It'll be easy par.
I'm going to throw it out to Brian for a moment. Brian, yesterday we heard them talk about the connection with the city and the parks department. It looks like some of that fresh mulch has arrived. How are the conditions out there overall with in terms of the mulch, the woods, the mud and such?
Yeah, Terry, I mean, they mentioned, Ryan and Joey both mentioned that their relationship with the Waco Parks is fantastic, and they've supported disc golf for a very long time. Right now, this course is looking better than I've ever seen it. It's green, the tee pads look great. There's new tee pads poured for the FPO pads, which is fantastic. And yeah, there's mulch everywhere. They're really preserving this course really, really nicely.
Thank you, Brian. As we heard, very green and lush out there here in the early portion of March in our spring in 2023. And what a drive here by Shue. She could not have placed it in a better spot. She does catch one of the retaining wall barriers there, so we'll see how badly she kicked down the hill, but regardless, she'll still have a putt for birdie.
Oh, and she was in the range to go for the shot. And it was right on line.
Pierce from circle 2 for birdie. And what just a really favorable tree kick she got. She was heading off hard right, and it kicked her up into the position she was in, just to even give her a look at the birdie. Caroline trying to put her first birdie on the scorecard here for the tournament. Pierce letting the group know that they could tap out if they want. See the 3 pars, and then Kristen here tapping in from short range, looking quick and easy work. And we're going to take a look at this patented perfect drive from Kristen, thanks to our friends at Sunstein. If you have any patents, copyrights, trademarks, any other intellectual property you'd like to discuss with them, make sure you get it fully protected by reaching out to our friends over at Sunstein Law. You can find them on sunsteinlaw.com. We'll head over to hole number 6, Val. Short and sweet, or no?
It's on paper. This seems like a very easy gettable hole. It's just 267 feet, but you could see it's very technical. If you're off your line, you are in the thick of it on either side. I don't know if one is better than the other, but the preferred flight path is going right down this tunnel with a slow turn drifting off toward the right. So you can throw a nice straight backhand shot, or a sidearm shot will get you there.
This might get you in the basket or right next to it. What a shot by Kristen. Another tap-in birdie coming up.
Offline immediately and does not fight through that left-hand side. Might have kicked her back to the center. Let's see what the right does and does not help Luque there.
Also pushing to the right, and I'm also noticing as we see Caroline score at 3 over par. There must have been an adjustment, and that might have been what we were seeing them do on the previous hole, is make sure that they had the correct score for her. And we're going to spicy shot here thanks to the halal guys. No problems for Kristen as that's coming in. She'll be inside the bullseye, just 1.5 meters from the basket. Thank you to our friends over at the halal guys. So Paige Shue has this uphill putt now for birdie. And after a nearly perfect drive by Shue, a par will feel disappointing to her here.
It is such a small landing zone around that basket. You figure you want to throw long of the pin just to be at the top of the hill, but then you still have a scary putt coming back to the basket. So whether you're short or long on the pin, I don't know what's better. But yeah, she had such a great drive.
Pierce is gunning for the basket. It hits just below it, and then a nasty rollaway. Brian, we saw the rollaway by Pierce. Will she be obstructed back there? How far away is she?
She is just inside circle one. I would say she's about 25 to 30 feet away. She's a little bit obstructed, but still has a decent look at the basket.
And I think she would have been just as far past the basket, even if she didn't hit it. That roll was pretty nasty, though.
Online, but short for Caroline. Caroline's husband on the bag, as she's talked about in the last few weeks, fully committed to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. They sold their house, bought an RV, and they are on the road as her professional disc golf career is stepping up to the next level. And this is exactly what I was worried about, is not far from this basket do you find this obstruction. And we'll see if Paige has a clean line. It looks like she's going to at least have to straddle out to give herself a look. She knew it right out of her hand, Val, that it didn't have enough angle on it. That's going to be a bogey here on 6. This is one of the easier holes, so again, very disappointing to walk away over par. This is Luque's 3rd. This is for her par.
Paige is still in the woods, seeing if she should have chosen another shot or angle for that putt.
Meanwhile, Kristen is just picking up her order from the halal guys. She's made the order and have lunch, just waiting for everyone else to get out of the way so she can tap in for birdie.
When your drives are on in a wooded course, you're in another world. I mean, she hasn't thrown a shot or hasn't had to do a putt in quite some time because her drives have been so locked in.
And speaking of locked in, what a great shot by Missy Gannon. She's going to be just deep on the short hole number 8. Doesn't even need to put her umbrella down, bag on shoulder, umbrella. and banana, everything just ready to go. The tap in for the world champ. Here's Katrina Allen. Tee of 8.
Hole 8 is very similar to hole 6. That same type of flight path. Straight up the gut, slight turn to the right. But if you turn too hard, there is that slope all the way down into the woods. Katrina cured it. Nice shot.
Yeah, on 6, you're looking for that slope to get down to the basket, and on 8, you just want to stay up on the spine, just as we saw from Kat. Lisa Fakis getting things done here today. Doing work. 6 under through 11. She did just bogey hole number 11, but now she's waiting on a backup on the tee of 12. And looks like now ready to go. We just got a call for the clear up, and she's ready to go on 12.
Not ideal with the distance that Kristen was able to get there, but she made it out of the tunnel, so she'll have a lot more space to work with on her second shot.
I think we'll see a forehand mid-range approach from her coming up. Here's Luque with what looks to be a near perfect drive.
Yeah, and look how much more distance she got past Kristen. We'll see how lined up she is with that tunnel to the basket.
Pierce right up the middle. And we've seen a number of amazing overhead, giving us that eye in the sky vantage point. Make sure you check them out today, flightfactory.com. Brian, talk to us about what we're seeing in terms of the troubles here for Caroline.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not out of the gap on this hole, obviously birdie is not even close to in question. But yeah, she just needs to get herself somewhere out in the open. Doesn't matter how far. If she can just put herself past that final guardian tree, she'll have within 300 feet to the basket. So kind of a rocky start for Caroline so far.
Yeah, we saw her just pitch over to the Mando tree or Mando line. So we'll see what she has for her third, but definitely work to do. Shu's second shot on 8 is going to be on the left side. So she'll have work to do to try and save her par. Henderson's third is low, so at best looking to get up and down from there, and that would be for bogey. And I thought Paige might have a look to save par, and she's just pitching out and going to surrender, looking like a bogey here on 8. That's pulled hard right for Fakis.
And
edge of fairway.
was a mandatory tree that she was heading towards, so we'll see if she stayed on the good side, which would have been the left.
Range.
Needs to hook up. She's gonna find herself down in the ditch.
Looks like it may have even just hung up on the side, which is going to give her a flatter putt from that position. Now the footwork might be a little bit awkward, but that does give her a little bit more level look at the pin.
Yeah, exactly. Level. There's no flatness about that footing.
Paige hunting for an eagle. Should be a tap-in birdie for Pierce.
I know, you're like drop.
And Katie Tati currently tied for third. This is on the 12th, the par 5, and still in the fairway after a redirect. Caroline's 4th throw, just hoping to get up and down and salvage a bogey here.
You want to have enough power to get over, but you want to make sure your accuracy is on point, and that was a gorgeous upshot. Deserving of that big smile.
I'm going to roll the Zuka replay on this. Flirting with a few of the branches on the right side, but checks up, great speed, and that will be a tap-in bogey. Look at the drive here. Doesn't get any easier than that, Val, or at least she made it look easy, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And it all came down to that awesome drive, putting her in perfect position, making it nice and straight, nice and easy, and allowing the most space for her to attack the pin.
We're going to head back to 12. Here's Lisa Fakis throwing her 3rd on the par 5. From there, that'll go up and still bend to the left. So par still very much a reality there. We'll see what she can do. This will not be an aggressive bid necessarily by Kristen, just trying to pitch over. Often from that range you'd see her jump putt, but understandably not wanting to do so with the downhill slope. So she'll be settling for par.
I was thinking, yeah, we don't need an ankle injury. And of course, that makes me think of last year's champion, Valerie Mandujano. She is not in the field this year. She's still trying to recover from her ankle injury in the off season. So healing vibes out to Valerie, who is on the course, actually. She is out there in town at least, maybe not on the course.
Stress-free par for Kristen. Now Fakis throwing her 4th on the par 5.
You just see the band in the top of the basket.
It looked light out of her hands, but she's up on the dance floor. She'll be inside circle 1 or edge of circle 1 for the par. Katrina Allen, tee of 9. We saw her slip and then pull it hard right. That's going to put her out of position right off the bat.
So both hole 9 and hole 12 are par 5s on this course. And you don't want to start like that.
And I feel like they play somewhat similar in that you're essentially going down a tunnel that then needs to bend to the right, and then it continues to just shift toward that right side. It plays left to right most of the way. Now we're back on 8. I believe the shortest hole on the track at just 213 feet.
For once, damn.
You thought you hit it?
And going for another bullseye hit. We'll see just how much that checked up, but what a shot. And talk about the driving on point.
Yeah, a little crazy.
Is this getting boring for Kristen out there?
Well, I was thinking maybe we'd see our first ace ever in Waco FPO history. That skip was looking good.
Certainly the two most common places we see ace runs are both 6 and 8. And Caroline rotates, flips over her wrist a little too much and pushes off to the left side. She's going to be well out of position. And from short range, Tate misses. She had a clean scorecard. Now Lisa Fakis even closer than I originally had thought, so certainly short range makeable putt for par. And she converts.
One of the few pars on her scorecard. They're going to head out of the woods. They're done with the woods for the day. They could take a nice big sigh of relief. May have been thinking about those branches a little bit too much in her backswing. Not focused on the angle of release.
The third shot by Katrina Allen should put her in good position to get up and down to save the par. More trouble here for Luque. Brian, I want to throw it out to you. Just 213 feet, but talk about how small some of the gaps or the lines are on a hole like this one in the woods.
Yeah, Terry, I think it's really a mixture of a few things. The gap is not directly straight at the basket. You have to either choose kind of a tight forehand that slides up to the basket or some sort of flip-up backhand that you still have to throw it slow. So to get it to flip up with such a slow speed is pretty tough as well. So it's very tricky in a lot of subtle ways. And it's also that distance where players can't throw hard. They have to display their touch to put it inside circle one.
Appreciate the insight, Brian. As we said, this is coming in as the shortest hole on the course. Now, out in the open, well, relative anyway, Lisa Fakis on hole 13. Things open up as our competitors will traverse 13 through 18. Go to that more scattered and moderate woods.
And we'll see what the wind's doing. From how the round started, I would assume that they're going into a headwind for the next few holes.
Yeah, thinking at least 13 through 16, likely a headwind to close out their round.
In a hole like this, being so short, you know, the mindset of these players is to get the birdie. But it should also be, if you can't get the birdie, you gotta get the par, because you are just falling back. These technical holes, the strokes can add up if your mindset is a little off.
And coming into hole number 8, we're seeing this play as the second easiest hole on the course. We just talked about how short it is. However, our final feature card, I don't think got the memo. So many of them struggling. Meanwhile, Kristen's just sitting back there thinking, well, what could I order for dessert? I've got plenty of time at this point. She is yet to throw her second shot as she's parked. And Luque in. Take another look at Kristen Tatar with the forehand. Perfect speed, checks up. That's a bullseye hit. Don't go anywhere. We've got more action on the other side of this commercial break.
Go long. Whoa.
Hey, over here.
Hello, we're Kenna. We're a Dutch growing company. We love plants and we want to tell you some cool things about them. Just like humans, plants can communicate. They can sense when another plant is close. Plants look out for each other too. They warn neighbors about nearby threats by secreting substances. And studies have shown that plants love a good tune. We love and understand plants. Let our passion excite you too.
What makes the Halal Guys so deliciously different? You might have heard of our famously long cart lines that NYC fans happily stand in. Today, with over 100 plus restaurants across the globe, we are your place to experience authentic American halal. Enjoy our delicious falafel, Euro sandwich, platters, and sides topped with our famously flavorful white and hot sauces. Order online today and taste how we make difference so delicious. The Halal Guys, bringing something deliciously different to the table.
Disc Golf Pro Tour All-Star Ace. An incredible shot there by Sarah Holcomb.
Disc golf education is important because it prolongs the length of our sport and the popularity of our sport, and the most receiving of disc golf is children. So if we get that introduced to them young, they might grow up to be the next Paul McBeth or the next Paige Pierce, and we don't know it.
Air Spectrum is Prodigy's new line of premium lightweight discs in the mid-range, fairway, and distance driver models. You can now get beautiful bursts of color no matter your preferred weight. Bag one today at prodigydisc.com.
Latitude 64's boys down here just finished checking out the your map and everything is A-OK.
Hey, Jonathan, catch. Huh?
Jonathan, we're getting an anomalous critical failure on your suit. Could you please confirm status?
Sorry, man.
Welcome back as we rejoin Katrina Allen here on the green of 9, along with Lydia Lyons. There's a birdie for Lydia.
Head into the par 5, hole 9.
And the first mistake that we've seen out of Kristen Tatar.
Good drive.
Now that's a shot. A little deceiving from this angle, but she should be right in the middle of the fairway.
Katie in for par on 13. And with where she was heading, that seemed to be a favorable kick. As we're also watching Lisa Fakis put in for par on 13. You called it, Val. That is a headwind. They're going to experience that on 13, 14, 15, and 16 as they make their way up the course. Here's Pierce throwing her second.
She's going with the sidearm, but it was just a straight shot she wanted to get to that corner. And when you land in that spot, then that's when the fairway starts to bend off to the right, down in that lower part that we just got to view.
And Brian, we're seeing now the forehand out of Kristen. I'm somewhat surprised we didn't see it off the tee. Is it just not the right angle for her forehand?
It's actually a good point you make, Terry. You'd think the forehand is the way to go, but this corridor that you have to maneuver through is so long, and to get to the bottom of the ditch at the elbow of the fairway, takes such a long shot. So really, she's playing the miss, and it's much better to miss on the left side of the fairway and have that stretch out forehand rather than being pinched off to the right and having a way, way tougher backhand to throw.
Good call, Brian, and off to this left-hand side is exactly where we're finding Caroline now. She doesn't have much option at all, so we're going to see her just pitch back out into the fairway.
Again, we see her checking that perfect landing zone, giving her this open look.
Well, whatever the changeup was, it appears to have been the right one.
Yeah, that was a beautiful sidearm.
Cat from the tee of 10. Not sure that was a bad tree branch. I'm surprised it did come into play, but not a bad kick. Fakis on 14. That's tracking left, and that might find out of bounds for Lisa Fakis.
And you still need accuracy even though you're not in the woods anymore. Once you get out to those open holes, there's a lot more out of bounds.
Favorable roll for Pierce, but off her mark, as you heard her mention. So she should be able to get up and down from there for the par. Now Kat's second shot here on 10. So from too high of a release to too low of a release, and still not in good position.
Luque was very pinched off on that right-hand side, but she was able to make it around the corner. A very accurate shot. She's back in the middle of the fairway.
So Lisa had gone out of bounds. This is to save par and gives it a solid bid. However, Fakis is going to put a bogey on her scorecard.
That would have just hyzered out at the end. If it would have come back a little bit more to the right, she would have been in an ideal spot.
Just looking to catch some edge, but she'll have a birdie putt from circle 2. Very few clean scorecards out there, Kristen Tatar being one of them. There's only 2 or 3 other women that also still have clean scorecards.
And we were mentioning we haven't really seen her off the fairway much this round, and that has a lot to do with that clean scorecard. She's about 90% on fairway hits.
Very awkward stance here that Caroline is setting up for.
That is what I'm thinking. The other option there was just kind of shifting around to the right and throwing the backhand anhyzer to the right, to the left of that tree, excuse me.
And some struggles here for Lisa. Was thinking she was going to get out of there with the bogey. Instead, it's going to be a double, and she's going to fall back to 4 under par for the round. Currently sitting in a tie for 4th. Here's Katrina Allen with her 3rd and connects with the tree directly in front of her. So Kat struggling on 10. Here's Pierce. Opting for the skinny line as opposed to maybe playing that wider, going out from left to right, trying to hit the smaller skinny gap. This being the left-hand side I was just referencing.
Although our feature card's having some struggles on this hole, it's the 12th most difficult, just slightly averaging 0.06 over par. So although it's a par 5, we're still seeing players be able to get the par.
Inside circle 1, still some obstruction. Here's Haley King with her tee shot on 14 and near bullseye's edge. A short downhill putt. And here's Kristen from circle 2 uphill. Unobstructed.
That was looking good, but just a little bit too high.
Pierce is off the top of the basket. The first word really that comes to mind is rust. Are we not seeing? We're not seeing Paige fully dialed. We've seen some mistakes that just are really uncharacteristic from her. Her drives haven't been pinpoint. Her approaches haven't been. We've seen her miss putts from both short and long range. Doesn't feel like Paige is fully dialed in just yet. And that could all change by round 2 tomorrow. I know she can. If anyone can come back quickly, it's her. But she hasn't looked sharp today.
And it's just been slightly off, just by a hair on her drives, and she is hitting metal on her putts, and she's aggressive on her putts, regardless if she makes them or not. I'll give her a round. I'll give her 1 pass.
Let her shake some of that off, and we'll see her again tomorrow. Here's Luque for par. She's been working extensively in the off season. with that, we're going to see Henderson in for the snowman, which you never like to see anywhere, let alone Texas.
It's funny, I was just thinking snow. I'm thinking Luke, you're putting in the hard work in the off season and how difficult it is for these players. You know, even Kristen Tatar, living in these snowy regions of the world. It's tough to get practice in during the off season. Well, outside practice at least.
A solid comeback putt. She'll walk away with the par. Now Katrina Allen, who has struggled here on hole number 10, will have that tap in for bogey. And Haley King's birdie attempt is short. Here's Lydia Lyons. This is for her par on 10. Lydia Lyons, who in the last few years has moved from the Midwest. She is originally from Illinois, but moved down to Texas a couple of years ago, and that's where we're going to stay, in Austin, Texas. In fact, March 17th through the 19th. Of course, you can catch all the action right here on the Disc Golf Network, or if you're lucky enough to be down there in person, head over to dgpt.com/tickets. Make sure you pick up your ticket today. Paige Shue for birdie. Colorful scorecard for Paige after the struggles on 9 there.
Yeah, that was a great bounce back. Now on 10, we saw Katrina with the struggles on this one, but you can see the fairway is much more open than we've seen on previous wooded holes. So there's a lot of room to allow your disc to have that full distance flight. Kristen left that one a little low, but she was able to get through the trees. Going to have an open second shot.
Paige doesn't like it. This is tracking left and well off the fairway for Pierce.
And as wide open as the fairway gets, that thick is still thick. It might be a pitch out.
Shue on the tee of 11. Pushing to the right side. Does it get up on the ledge? It does. So it'll be a steep drop off for the putt directly behind the basket. Now we're back with Ella Hansen. And we saw the hot start that she was off to, Val. Inside the circle for a look on 13.
And I was mentioning it, you know, in the course strategy. This is the time for that mental reset. It's the first hole where they step out into the open. It's the first hole back into the open to think about what the wind is doing and how it's going to affect their drives. So that having that reset and focusing in on what you need to throw those open shots. So we'll see if Ella can close it out strong.
That was just a correction. That was Ella's drive on 14. I apologize. Here's Luque on 10.
Inside circle 2. 10th playing has the 14th most difficult. So one of the easier holes on the course, averaging slightly over par, but we've seen quite a few birdies, 27% in fact. And that was the birdie look for Paige Shue, but just lays up underneath the pin. It's smart. It can be a very tricky green, and you can get some nasty rollaways.
Yeah, not only do you have the rollaway, but then you also have kind of that woods line that comes into play, so it could be an obstructed uphill putt at that. Brian, this looks terrible for Paige Pierce. At best, is this a pitch out?
Yeah, I can't fathom her getting up to even circle 2 from where she's at. It just kept fighting. I mean, I thought it was going to hit early and stay on the edge, but it just continued to push, and yeah, she's all the way at the bottom.
She's going to have to be careful because she doesn't want to catch something early and keep her deep in the woods as well. So she needs to find the fairway in order just to salvage the par. Sometimes you have to back off, and that's going to go to the other side of the fairway, but from there she should have a look to be able to get up and down.
You're fine.
This is where Caroline's drive ended up, one of the best in the group. Light skip, checks up just inside the circle.
Kirsten was in great position, and that's a solid upshot.
Be similar to what we'll see from Caroline. And here we have Alexis Kerman. This is for par on 14.
And you know it's got to be a good shot. So great to see new faces, speak new names. There's actually 52 women competing in the event this year. That is outstanding, and I'm feeling the vibes. We just had International Women's Day. It's Women's History Month, and it is so great to see the sport just booming right now and see so many female competitors out there competing and playing here this weekend.
Paige gonna disc down and actually give this more of a jump putt as opposed to a standstill throw. Put a little Annie on it, having it go right toward the pin, and should be a makeable putt from there. Lorenzen's third. We saw the drive by Ella Hansen. Here she is for birdie on 14. Oh, and you cannot miss from that range if you're trying to hunt down a win here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Ella Hansen not able to take advantage. She'd make the comebacker and then walk away with the par. But Ella 6 under. Here's Caroline Henderson.
You can't miss putts like that for Ella, who is trying to hold on to the lead when you know you have players like Kristen Tatar. Kristen Tatar with this birdie would tie it up at the top.
And really, I was thinking just never a doubt. Dead center, perfect height, perfect speed, everything you want. Kristen Tatar now a co-leader along with Ella Hansen at 6 under.
It's a superpower to not be nervous over putts. And Kristen Tatar always looks so confident, regardless of how far they are, or what kind of elevation.
That was for par. Now Paige Pierce, similar distance.
And not as bad as it looked there for Paige. It's surprising to see her have so much difficulty on hole 10, but to walk away with a par, no harm, no foul.
Caroline will do the same. So all 3 of our other feature card competitors losing a stroke to Kristen. Here's Ella Hansen, Tia 15. Great opportunity for her to take advantage of the power that she has, but flips that one over. That's out of the ballpark.
Hole 15's one of those holes that sticks out in my mind where you have to be aware of what the wind is doing because there's so much out of bounds. But let's take a look at hole 11, par 3, almost 280 feet, but it starts with that tight gap immediately off the tee, and that really restricts the players to throwing this perfect line at the pin. A straight shot will get you there, but you don't want to skip off to the left-hand side. You want it to finish straight or skip up to the right to give yourself a birdie look. But because this basket is perched on this hillside with roots all around it, you can see a lot of those kind of greedy putts or those aggressive putts hitting a root, hitting the basket, and rolling away. And you're lucky if you can walk away with a par after that. Love it.
Hunting at the basket. Oh, and it gets caught up by one of the last trees.
What a great line. Can it get the skip? Not quite enough. She's kind of in that in-between zone. Do you go for it? How confident are you feeling in your putt? Because from there, you've got to get it in the basket.
And yet again, Paige has pulled her drive, this time to the right. Fortunate to land in the center of the fairway, but Pierce will have work to do just to save the par. after a very long backup. Paige Shu ready to go here on the tee of 12.
We were comparing hole 9 and hole 12, the two par 5s. Hole 12 is much more difficult, actually the second most difficult hole on the course. And I think that fence in her backswing scared Ella a bit. Moves that shot low, but she's safe on her third.
Short, but in the fairway for Katrina on 12. Here's Pierce, squared up with the tree. She's going to be on that lower left side, and the struggles continue here for Pierce. Right now we're seeing Kristen tied with Ella Hansen atop the leaderboard at 6 under. Saya Nanda 5 under. Haley King and Lisa Fakis both at 4.
Sai Nanda is currently on a run of 5 birdies in a row. Now she's on hole 12.
Great speed and control by Caroline. And looking at that scorecard, as you just said, not Luke, Sainanda getting it done though. 5 birdies in a row. Moving into the second most difficult hole on the course. We'll see if she can pick up a bonus birdie. Ella Hansen and Hannah Blumros, the only two that have birdied hole 12. We'll see if Sai can keep that rolling. Pierce is third. We'll put her in a position for a short bogey. Now Ella Hansen throwing her 4th. This won't be much of a birdie look for Kristen Tatar. Just trying to get it out there and also trying to get it to land flat so that it doesn't catch a root or something else on that hillside and get up and roll away from her. And Brian, we just saw Kristen's roll away. How bad is it off to the left side? That's exactly what I was worried about earlier.
It's not too bad down there. There's gaps, but it's definitely unfortunate for Kristen, that's for sure.
Just thinking about a little pitch up, just trying to get it to land flat, get yourself somewhere near the bullseye, and I shall have more work to do just to stay par. Here's Luque.
Yes.
Her putting stroke looks so solid.
Like I said, if you're going to be aggressive on a putt at that distance, it's gotta go in the basket. And uses little leg power to get the height. Never a doubt.
Just inside of the circle. Great putt.
Has that tree in her way.
Just as we saw Kristen pull into a tie for the lead along with Ella Hansen, She now puts a bogey on her scorecard. She's going to fall back to 5 under. We've got a lengthy backup on 12, so we're going to stand down for just a moment. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break.
Are you sick and tired of browsing through countless online stores for your disc golf equipment only to come up empty-handed? Look no farther. At 1010 Discs, we have a vast selection with pictures of each disc so you can find the exact one you need. We offer a wide variety of top-quality brands at affordable prices, including discs, bags, accessories, and much more.
It's always so exciting when we get new plastics of the Passion, but I always end up falling back on the stock ones. And I like to say its closest counterpart is the Buzz. I think my absolute favorite way to throw it is dead straight and just watch the beauty of a straight flight. They've become a staple in the Discraft lineup and also in people's bags, and to know that people everywhere are enjoying the Passion as much as I am. That's just really exciting for me.
Whether you're out playing a tournament or just hanging out with friends, don't let your grip cost you strokes out on the disc golf course.
Aaron, try this.
When you have a better grip on your discs, you have the confidence to perform your best with each throw and every putt. Whale sacks are whale-shaped grip bags designed to dry your hands so you can trust that you have the best grip on your disc. Get a whale sack, because better grip means better confidence.
I just think the plastic is very premium. It's a high quality material. The way the disc feels in my hand.
I think it's the quality of plastic.
It's unlike any other plastic that you'll find in the industry.
The quality is better than any other company out there.
Again, just consistent plastic. It's something I can consistently trust on every single throw.
There's so many discs to choose from, and I guarantee if you tried every disc in the lineup, you're gonna wanna put multiple discs in your bag.
It's extremely high quality. You can only say so much, they have to eventually just try it themselves and see.
Air Spectrum is Prodigy's new line of premium lightweight discs in the mid-range, fairway, and distance driver models. You can now get beautiful bursts of color no matter your preferred weight. Bag one today at prodigydisc.com.
Welcome back. We're on the tee of 12 with Caroline Henderson.
Nice clean drive, landing right in the middle of the fairway. That is exactly what needs to be done. Oh, and Kristen had a great line as well, but a little off to the left and stays to the left. But that is a better side of the fairway to be on. And Paige gonna join her.
Yeah, the exact same tree it looks like for Pierce.
So on that bend and around that corner, there is a mandatory tree that keeps players off to the left. So again, being on the left hand side, even if you're off the fairway, is not bad.
Katrina in circle 2.
We're saying hole 12 getting a little bit easier. It's now the third most difficult hole on the course, averaging a little over a half a stroke over par. But we're going to start off with that tee shot, getting through this initial gap. Players need to stay off to the left-hand side to make sure that they're going to land nice and safe. A great drive is going to get you down here in the lower part of the fairway. And this is the tree we want to stay to the left of. There is a drop zone to realign you with the fairway. And then the second part of the hole doesn't get any easier. It still bends off to the right-hand side and then climbs up a hill at the very end. You want to make sure you have good height, but again, try and be accurate so you can keep yourself in the fairway.
Great approach by Paige Shue. There's Lorenzen's third. She had to pitch out to this spot. So there's a fairway in there somewhere, Val. As they're playing it, if you're looking at on your screen right now, they're playing it from right to left.
I don't know. It looks like they are gallery kind of.
And Brian, back in the where the drives had landed, Paige and Kristen talking about if it's the gallery up there or if that's the card that they're waiting on up ahead on 12. Can you confirm?
Yeah, they're waiting on the card ahead of them. They're actually still putting on the green, so if they want to get aggressive, that's not really in the cards right now. So they're probably just waiting on that.
As Brian called it, up ahead on the green, Katrina Allen. Big putt by Allen. Take another look at it.
Was her hand in her pocket while she was putting? I know that left hand's always going to be doing something. Very solid putt from Katrina. She's going to be added to the list of birdies here on hole 12.
Very short list at that.
Nice. I saw the hold back. I know that hurt. Yeah.
Pierce concerned about her follow through. We're taking a look at our top 10 right now. Sayananda currently solo leader at 6 under after we saw the bogey. Kristen, who gave one back. Also not seeing Paige Pierce in that top 10.
And we last checked in, Sai was at 5 in a row, 5 birdies in a row, that is. And she is on that short list as she birdied hole 12. Now, She's out in the open here on hole 15.
This needs to stop just before getting to the edge of the road and slides out at the last moment.
I have literally never done that.
And even with the birdie that we saw by Katrina, also still not in the top 10. So somewhat surprising to see by both of them.
Again, what we've seen in previous years, anything can happen. Katrina, she has one of the hottest rounds put up on this course, and that was in last year's final round. She was narrowing in, and she was way back. We weren't even speaking her name in that final round, but then she started to claw her way up to the top. So it's just a matter of if you're hitting your lines that day, if you can make those putts and take advantage.
Yeah, if I recall, I think that was a 10-18 rated round that she had last year to close out the tournament. All to finish in third behind Kristen Tatar and, of course, Valerie Mondahano.
Towel. Again, too much turn on the forehand shot.
Paige in prime position to set herself up for a birdie. Now Katrina on the tee of 13. This is to follow up the birdie we just saw on 12.
Getting close to that Mando tree. She stays on the good side, gets great distance, and being down there on the left-hand side, give her a good angle to the basket.
It feels like things really open up from over there. The tree's a little more sparse. So Caroline slipped for a moment. Problems with the slippery terrain there with the standstill. Maria Oliva had to call over tournament director Ryan Draper. Try and get clarification as to not only if it's inbounds, but more so where she would then take it. I can't even imagine what the odds are to land in that specific spot.
And of course, the caddy book, it says over the fence, right and beyond, so she is safe. But yeah, it's tough to mark when you have that perched up on the cement there.
Firm bid, but doesn't get that one to drop from deep in circle 2. And that may have been a provisional that Maria had called from there prior to getting the tournament director over possibly for a ruling, because can't think of a reason otherwise that she would have been back that far. Here's Kristen. On point, she'll walk with the par 5. Luque trying to head to commercial break before we do. We're going to stand down for just a moment, and we'll be right back.
My name is Garrett Gerthy, also known as Double G, and I'm the founder of Double G Craft Jerky.
Double G Craft Jerky is an awesome snack when you have a hankering on the course. You need a little something to pick you up out there so you can really get after a drive or finish on a putt and capitalize.
When you're playing a disc golf round and you're hungry and you don't have a snack on the course, you start to lose focus, you start thinking about what am I going to eat for dinner. With Double G Craft Jerky, that's not a problem.
The Educational Disc Golf Experience is the leading nonprofit organization bringing disc golf to schools nationwide since 2003. EDGE provides age-appropriate discs, targets, and a classroom-linked curriculum which empower educators to teach the fundamentals of the sport. In EDGE's 20 years of existence, over 2 million youth have been introduced to this great lifetime activity. Be a part of the next chapter of disc golf. Support EDGE today.
And welcome back, everyone. Brazos River on the left side of your screen, basically going back the exact opposite direction from what we saw on holes number 2 and 3. In fact, 3 plays just parallel to what we're seeing here on 13. And here's Katrina's long birdie look. That also looked good and was just off the mark for Kat. just about every obstacle on this hole, she is dealing with it. That should be a nice short tap in. Here's a long birdie look for Gannon off the front.
And the typical smiley Missy is clearly frustrated with her putting today.
With the OB stroke, Sai looks like she'll be picking up a bogey here or there on hole number 15. Pierce lacing the drive. Matching the distance we just saw from Pierce. Kristen Tatar is 25, maybe 30 feet left of her.
And staying well away from that Mando. But still in a great position. Farther away from the pin, having to go that route, but she'll have a similar angle as Kristen and Paige.
It's too late.
Paige Shu here on 14. It's a very attackable par 3, just over 300 feet. But there's OB completely surrounding this basket. Very nice shot. And when the wind picks up on this hole specifically, it seems like the birdie is just impossible to get. Today's a perfect day to take advantage.
Long look from circle 2. As we move down the fairway here on 13, let's check out Val's keys for closing, brought to us by blackinkdisc.com, the premium disc golf store.
Well, Terry, we're back out in the open to finish this round, so we need these players to get in that mindset. Read the wind, understand how the wind can affect your shot, and then as you finish up, hole 17 and 18 can be crucial to how your round plays out. Thinking back on last year, hole 17 was detrimental for Kristen Tatar. That is the reason she lost the tournament. She was hunting down Valerie Mondahano, but hole 17, that's the hole that hung her up.
Luque's attempt is wide, so she'll be in circle 2 with 13, maybe 14 meters left to the pin. Out of Kat's jump putt range, so she'll pitch up to walk away with the easy par. After going deep on her initial drive, this is Evelina's third on 17, what you were just talking about, Val. And that's going to roll over and check up and sits inside the circle. Pretty nervous for Evelina for a moment. Lydia Lyons. Oh, and what a putt. Fist pump. Lydia Lyons back to 1 under par. Can Paige make it look as easy as Kristen? And she's going to be short, but still a birdie putt.
And those two, Kristen and Paige, had massive drives, but they didn't go as far left as we see a lot of players play their tee shots. And so they still had to maneuver through the trees. If you go more to the left, it's a more open look. There's a chance there to walk away with an easy par, but Caroline will still have some work to do with her putter.
I've never seen someone this close to the pin off their drive. This is Ella Hansen's second shot on 17.
I did not see the drive, and I don't know if I can believe it. That's unreal. I still don't believe it. Wow.
Paige Shue picks up the birdie. So she'll go to 3 under. Shue currently in a tie for 7th. And this is Ella Hansen for her birdie look here on 17.
Facing the water. Not scared.
Well, and thank goodness to have her walk away with the birdie. To have that drive and not get the birdie would be incredibly disappointing. So Ella Hansen taking advantage. Great birdie on 17. Effort is short out of Caroline.
Paige's caddy's having a good old time. Let's see if that transfers over.
So if she's got one ear Bud in, I guess the question is he listening with Bud? Are they in sync in that sense?
And are they listening to NSYNC?
Yes.
We got a lot of questions. We'll see if Brian can hook us up.
Easy tap in for Kristen Tatar's birdie. She's going to go back to 6 under. As they have the short walk over to 14. Evelina did miss the par opportunity she had a moment ago, so this is for bogey.
Wow, that putt was no more than an arm's reach away, and that goes to show that mental lapse in her putting style. Look at this comeback putt that she's left with.
Now, this is almost exactly where she was 2 putts ago.
And it is so sad to see her going through these putting struggles again this year. She was in the lead for the final round of this tournament last year. She was in the hunt all the way to, I believe, hole 15. And then all of a sudden, it was like a light switch with her putting, and it turned off, and then the tournament was out of her hands, and there was no coming back.
Kristen's forehand drive here on 14. We haven't seen anyone go deep with the pin, and that's exactly what she's done. So she'll have a comeback putt from inside the circle. Kristen currently sitting at 6 under, tied for the lead. This looks great for Pierce, but it does come up short.
Can it hold on? No. Heiser's out at the end. Gonna keep her inside circle 2.
It says danger of finding OB on the right side. That's exactly what's happened. So Caroline out of bounds, right side.
There's a lot of pressure. We mentioned this is her first year that she's committed herself to the tour. I mean, how many times has she played in front of a crowd? How many cameras are on her at the moment? And it is really tough to just kind of calm your nerves, fight through that. There's a lot of outside pressure definitely weighing on her shoulders at this moment. So hopefully she can take a breath and get outside of that.
Ella Hansen now on the tee of 18. I feel like there's a very select few women that can actually go after this green off of the tee, and that's exactly what she's doing, clearing it and well inside circle 1. Big bomb by Ella Hansen.
100 feet. I wonder if Ella was thinking, okay, just don't go long and out of bounds. Hole 18, 468 feet.
And so crucial when you think about that. We'll say 48 hours from now, and they're coming down the stretch, and just knowing most of our division is going to be laying up and playing for that 3 at best, where Ella Hansen has clearly no problem going after the pin. That's something to keep in mind if she's in the hunt come Sunday afternoon.
And it's the ace in the pocket for Ella. Because she could throw so far, she has that ability to throw a variety of discs. She could stable up and still get that distance, whereas some players have to have absolutely perfect conditions to throw that far and to get over the water.
Not that Kristen's thinking about it at the moment, but she does have the course record, and right now maybe even in threat of resetting it today if she can finish strong. Course record 8 under par. She moves to 7 with that birdie putt. Absolutely brutal for that to come back out for Lorenzen. I'm going to take another look at it. She was leaning over to pick up her mini. It looked good. It was solid. Right side, just a touch high possibly if we're going to be really nitpicky. But that one falls back out for her. That's going to be painful for Uke.
Oh, and that was off the target, but hits the fence. She stays safe. But from there, she had the power to get inside the circle, and now it'll likely be a pitch up.
Katrina Allen's second shot, just on the edge of the bullseye.
Thank you. So then it just has to be perpendicular. Correct. Okay, thank you.
Great clarification as helped by our group. If you go out of bounds, you can essentially create a semicircle around where you were last in bounds and take it on any angle. But in that case, she was not out of bounds, so you must bring it in perpendicular to the basket. So she did get that clarification. She was about to make a mistake and take an illegal lie otherwise. Ella Hansen to close out with an eagle in the opening round. And it just barely scoops out, not quite enough power. She'll have to settle for the birdie, but Ella Hansen will be at 7 under to open her 2023 campaign here at Waco, and that one slides out of the left side for Katrina.
Baskets are slippery.
All of a sudden, it felt like they just didn't want to be as friendly. And now we're on 15. Val, let's take a look at what they're trying to do.
And you can see from the course map on the right-hand side of our screen just how narrow this fairway is. They have to be as accurate as they were in the woods, but there's no rough here. On either side, it's out of bounds, and that's an extra stroke you don't want to add to your scorecard. So we see players landing near and around this ditch with a massive drive, and then things get a little squirrely in this range. You've got some natural obstacles with trees, some unnatural stuff, and it forces players to throw their second shots higher than they might want to in the and knowing what the wind is doing and how it can affect your drive is so important.
This is going to need a skip, or is it just going to come in the entire way? It does. Great shot by Kristen. Trying to play it safe with the forehand, having it fight away from the OB road.
Paige leaves this one high.
That's drifting.
But it was such a slow flying disc that she was able to still control it going forward. There wasn't that hard skip that we would see from a driver.
And a strong finish for Ella Hansen, going birdie on 17 and 18. That is going to momentarily bring her into a tie for the lead along with Kristen. They're both at 7 under. I don't see a world where she's not at least on the lead card for tomorrow's round.
And it shoots so well, but to look at her scorecard, she has some room for improvement. And specifically, I'm looking at the C1X putting for Ella Hansen. She missed a handful of putts down the stretch when the pressure's on. But regardless, she had a solid round today. And if she can kind of go in round 2 with that mind frame, I think she's going to come out well. We know her for big distance, but she is playing those technical shots very well this weekend so far.
I always say I don't like to do math on the air because it's an easy way to look stupid, but from what I'm seeing, looks like she should be on lead card tomorrow. And that's Paige. You saw just how close she was to the OB, so she's going to bring it in up to 1 meter. She has the option to bring it up to 1 meter. You do not have to take it.
But she has that cement light post in her backswing.
Good with my feet here. 11 inches.
This scares me.
It does. Yeah, thinking of the follow-through, Val, right?
That she needs to follow through to keep this in bounds. She gets it off cleanly. Beautiful shot.
Perfect approach from Pierce.
She's not clutching her hand, so we're good to go.
Although it may look like it, that area that has the guardrail around it is in no way out of bounds. It's just simply a rail that's out there. It has no bearing on in or out of bounds.
I would say provisional, or at least look at it, because I've literally gone under the fence, like, yeah. So there's a.
Seeing the second shot here by Caroline. And Brian, a moment ago, we were just hearing Paige talk to Luque about taking a provisional. Is there anything you're seeing up there that would prompt Paige to suggest as much? Is there any possibility for Luque to be in bounds or anything?
There is something short that is, I think a lot of people have questioned whether or not that's in bounds. It's kind of a gray area. That could be why she recommended it, but no, I'm not entirely sure.
Seeing from the course map, there's nothing in the fairway that is marked out of bounds. So it's just lined out of bounds, road on the left, fence on the right, and then a line behind.
Really, that's the entrance, one of the main entrances to the park is just beyond where the basket is on the top right of your screen, if you're looking at the graphic. And then off to the left side of the screen
I can
was
take 1 meter. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I can just go like that with your right.
So here again, confirming you can bring it out perpendicular if you are not out of bounds.
And if you're unsure, it's always a good idea to ask your group. And if they don't know, it's always a good idea to be carrying the rule book. You do not need to add extra strokes to your scorecard, especially if you didn't throw them.
This is Kristen Tatar for the outright lead at 8 under. And it won't happen here. So she's going to remain at 7 and knot it up with Ella Hansen, who's in the clubhouse.
just thinking that advantage that Ella has from how she played 17 to where she threw her drive on 17, then to where she threw her drive on hole 18. If she sticks to that game plan and she's able to execute it for the next 2 rounds, if it comes down the stretch, she'll be looking pretty good and feeling confident in her game plan. And if you're confident on those holes, that says a lot.
Certainly separate yourself from the field. In for the par now. Katrina Allen throwing her second on hole number 16.
The drives are relatively boring on 16. It really comes down to how close they can get their second shots to the basket, or in this case, third.
Paige's third, and looks like that'll be a tap in for her.
And this hole is playing middle of the pack. It's the 9th most difficult. Par 4, just over 600 feet. But this is what I'm talking about for their drives. It's wide open. There is out of bounds on either side, but there's just so much space out there. You can see these brand new trees that they planted here in the middle of the fairway, which will make it a little bit more interesting for years to come. But wherever they land, that second shot is crucial if they want to get the birdie here on this hole. You start to get closer to the basket. You've got some guardian trees blocking the way, creating a bit of a low ceiling. And then when the wind picks up on this hole, it is very daunting to try and go for the putt on this elevated pin.
We saw the unfriendly roll a moment ago by Katrina, and then the tap in by Shu. Paige currently sitting in a tie for 7th. Stephanie Vincent from Texas sitting at 3 under. She's in the clubhouse.
And it's nice to see such hot shooting today. Again, those low winds are really being favorable to the players.
Saw a glimpse there of some more of the new trees that have been planted out here at the park. Looking to keep that 100% fairway hit stat intact. Major variance here on the tee of 16. Again, Carey now in the clubhouse. She's at 5 under along with Haley King and Sayananda and Annika Steen. sitting at 4. Annika Sten, that is. Welcome in, everyone, as we're here. Val Jankins along with myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. And has there been any real surprises that you've seen out here so far in round one?
I would say no surprises when it comes to Waco. I mean, we see a slew of names. Everyone has a chance out here on this course. We talked about how this is one of the shortest courses on tour. And so even if you could throw 300, 350 feet, that puts you right in the range to get the birdies. And birdies are what we're seeing out of today, especially in these pristine conditions that we're getting.
Yeah, it's been great to see so much blue on the scorecards. And then earlier we were talking about how there were a handful of women that were without any bogeys whatsoever out there. So seeing some really good play, 7 unders by Kristen Tatar and Ella Hansen at the moment, and then Deanne Carey, like I just mentioned, along with Haley King, both sitting at 5 under. Lots of birdies to be had out here, and I think we'll have to see what tomorrow's weather is going to bring. We always know no matter what you have on day 1, it could be the exact opposite on day 2, and then maybe even revert back on day 3. You just never know. But it looks like we're getting a little bit more sunshine out there as well here in our Friday late morning round.
Great up shot from Caroline. I think you're going to be the most comfortable if you can land inside the bullseye to drop in the birdie putt. No need to make yourself work, but you can see even from Kristen's angle, there's a lot of gaps that she can choose. It's very technical. Can she skip it up to the pin if she goes this right route? Sure can.
Thought she was maybe going to get the skip in at that point there, Val.
Quite what she wanted, but she's still gonna have a putt inside the circle.
Should we tell her this song?
I need song signature.
Jesus Christ. That's the one playing in my head now.
She's in the clubhouse, currently tied for first at 7 under. Let's hear from Ella Hansen.
Hansen, Ella, you step up to 18, the sun comes out, there's a tailwind.
Yeah.
Is it full sends?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Great way to finish with 17 and 18, but talk about that start. How crucial is it to get the first 5 out here at Waco?
That was pretty wild to me. I mean, I was throwing good shots, making good putts. I feel like I had a bit of a weird drive on hole 1, and it just kind of skipped up inside the circle, made the putt, and then threw some good shots. And hole 4 is always an intimidating tee shot, and I was really happy with how I threw it, and I was just feeling good out there to start. Yeah.
What's the mentality for the rest of the woods? Obviously 4, you walk in, it's night and day from what you just played, but
yeah.
I mean, what's your approach in the woods at this particular track?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm throwing mids and putters and trying to keep it controlled in the fairway. You know, it's just about hitting lines, and it's an interesting challenge to go from the open to the woods and back in to kind of really got to hit those lines in the woods, and yeah, I was feeling good.
And then stellar finish on 17 and 18. Probably one of the few players in the field to get both of those.
Yeah.
So anything you want to adjust going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I had a couple nervy putts. I think I just need to take a second, reset those. When I kind of, it's like, you know it, and you're like, no, I'm going to make it, and then you don't make it. So just taking a second to reset myself on those. And there's a couple of tee shots I want to throw a little bit better, but I think for the most part, I was really happy with how I was throwing.
All right, that's Ella Hansen. Strong start here in Waco.
Thank you.
Finishing out strong. I mentioned it earlier. Right now, let's see if Kristen Tatar can possibly get past that hot score. We're going to find out if she can do so on the other side of this commercial break. We'll be right back.
This year, Prodigy is celebrating its 10th year as a disc golf disc manufacturer. In the beginning of this journey, we found out that making discs isn't so easy. It wasn't too long in the process that something just clicked. To celebrate Prodigy's 10-year anniversary, we wanted to bring an old plastic back that you can find in some older runs of M4s, but it is not a plastic from Prodigy's current selection. You will see this logo more on our 10-year anniversary special releases.
Throwing her second on hole number 17. Green flag.
This has got to be the hardest working spotter on the course. There's so much that can happen on these second shots on 17. So this is where we typically see drives land. And what was just so outstanding, Ella Hansen was down by those rocks, down the hill, looking straight at the basket.
Yeah, and this, as you said, this is where we see drives land. This is where we see good drives land.
Exactly.
And then Ella Hansen, so much better than that. Here's Lydia Lyons.
It's got
She
to
says,
work.
uh-oh. That's way out there, and she's going to lose quite a bit of that distance because she went out of bounds early and then didn't find inbounds at all on the way back. So her next shot is still going to be difficult.
Wow.
Paige Shue splitting the uprights, tracking toward left side OB. She'll gain all of that distance, but goes out in just the last few feet. So Paige Shue for circle 2 will have a long putt to possibly still save the par. And Kat
She's
looking for
looking
that
up.
Yeah, the airspace up there. This brings in so many more factors.
Oh, you just don't want to hit short. This is all out of bounds that she's throwing up and over.
She needs to stick the landing, or is it push left? And that's exactly what I was worried about. When you're putting it up that high, you need it to come in on almost a perfect spike. And so Kat leaks out to the left side. So now 3 approach shots, all 3 out of bounds.
And I'm almost thinking these could be lost discs forever. It is so swampy and nasty in that area. I'm not sure they can get their discs back.
Lydia's, I don't think we'd get back. Paige might be on the edge enough that that might be retrieved. Same with Katrina possibly, but I don't think we're going to get Lydia's back anytime soon. Although her dad is on the bag, so I mean, if he's fully committed to the job, right? He needs to crawl in there.
The round's almost over.
And Brian, we keep talking about 17 and 18, what the winds are going to do, how difficult the approach shot is on 17. Give us an assessment here as they're trying to close out this opening round.
Well, we do have the same wind that we saw on hole 1 when the lead card teed off. We have a bit of a tailwind left to right. So helping wind on 18, definite helping wind on 17. If it's reversed, the holes play completely different. So today they got a good one.
We'll see if they can take advantage of it as they're trying to close out these last two. Kristen Tatar possibly looking to set a course record out here during her opening round. Ella Hansen already in the clubhouse at 7 under. Now back on the tee, Paige Pierce.
Almost in Ella zone.
I was just going to say, that's about as good as you could get. Any other day, you're saying that's the best shot of the day. Today, that's going to be second best to what we saw from Ella. Great positioning for Pierce. And if this gets a nice skip and a flare, this could also be in a great position. You're going to like her chances from there.
That is just outstanding. We didn't see these types of shots last year, or we didn't see very many of them. All of that rough on the right-hand side, that's all out of bounds. In my mind, I feel like the players, it's placement shots, but they're being very aggressive off of the tee.
Oh, and speaking of that aggression, that goes out of bounds. She goes deep. She'll get all of that distance, and she'll have a pretty good line still to the basket, but adding an OB stroke to her scorecard. It's so crucial to make that bend. Otherwise, A, you can't see the basket, and B, you're going to have to put at more than one angle or have the disc take more than one angle to get to the pin. And you see approximately where all 3 of the drives landed inbounds, plus Caroline's deep on the OB there, so she'll be able to bring it back in 1 meter. And big thanks to our friends over at Flight Factory for these beautiful overhead shots. Make sure you check them out. FlightFactoryDisc.com. Hole 17. Playing is the most difficult hole, Val. Neither of us are surprised by that, right?
I believe it. And really, if you can get yourself in a good placement shot, you can feel more confident on your second, but it is so challenging. Again, if the wind picks up, these players are shaking in their boots on these second shots. But today, it's the best conditions that you can get. You should feel the most confident in your game plan on the second shot. But it all comes down to where you land off of the tee and how aggressive you can get. There's a little extra weight as after you finish putting out on this hole, you have to walk back down half of the fairway and then continue on to 18's tee pad. So we're waiting for that second card to clear out.
And Brian, maybe you can confirm this for me. this configuration that we see for the Disc Golf Pro Tour weekends, whenever we're here, the holes are actually renumbered. Is that correct? If you came out here, say, in 2 weeks, you wouldn't start in the exact same spot that we are today, right?
That is correct in many situations. For this particular course, I actually do not know the answer.
And Kristen Tatar gets the green flag ultimately after almost skipping it in for eagle. What a shot by Kristen, and punished with a unfavorable roll, but almost skipped it in for eagle. Let's roll the Zuka replay. Looks good the entire way. A roller coaster of emotions for Kristen after almost putting it in. Just waiting for it to sit back down.
You know, of course, I'm thinking about Valerie Mandujano last year and the most epic shot that I've seen her throw and how aggressive. But Kristen Tatar almost took the cake.
I was just going to say, trying to win that early shot of the year contender. What an incredible shot by Kristen. If somehow Caroline were to throw this in, this would be for a birdie instead after going out of bounds on her tee shot. I don't think she'd be complaining about that. This is wide. Is it going to fight back? It looks like it's going to find land. It hits. The question is, does it stay in bounds? Oh, and the fake ultimately gives the green flag. I'm going to take another look at the Kristen approach from a moment ago.
And it's a blind shot. She can't see where the basket is. She knows the shot she's got to throw. And not even an inch. Less than an inch, and that would have been right in the center of the basket.
Well, speaking of the shot that we saw last year, and this being so clutch as it was during the final round, trying to hold on to the lead, that ripping left to right wind, perfect placement, speed, angle, everything about this shot, just truly next level for Valerie to close out the victory here in Waco.
And not to mention the most pressure that Valerie Mandujano had ever had on her shoulders in her entire life. It was all riding on that shot. But so much action we see here on 17. Good and bad.
I was just thinking about all the OB shots that we just saw from the previous group. The incredible drive by Ella, the near throw-in a moment ago by Kristen. Hole 17, just turning it up a notch or two in terms of the disc golf drama. So now we head to 18. Kat's game plan, laying up into the center of the fairway. From there, she'll look to throw over to the green.
And that is a smart play that she can execute every round regardless of what the wind is doing. So I know she could pump up and get the distance to go across, but it's smart to just set that mental game plan right off the bat.
That, if you landed right there, I would consider you safe. So I think from
Yeah.
Well,
Take that as one step. And
yeah.
Then
And then two more past
Yeah.
your disc, basically. Basically, one in front of your disc and then two past your disc is kind of what I would do.
Yeah.
But you can't go that way.
Yeah, because you're safe.
Yeah. I would just say two past your disc and you're solid. I don't know if that's any better.
There's no marked line on the ground, and that's why they're all there trying to make the ruling whether she's safe or out of bounds. And according to the rule book, it's just water left. So if she's not completely surrounded by water, she's safe.
Now this is also something that Caroline and everyone should remember. You can take up to 1 meter. You do not have to take the full meter, whether you're out of bounds or not. You can take up to 1 meter. And you heard her say a moment ago that she said, I don't know if this is much better. You can pick any spot in between that OB line and the 1 meter.
I think so too. It's the best I've ever played that hole, though.
So Paige seems content still with the par, even though her putt was off. We've seen most of her putts just be a little bit either left or short, and that one was online but short, so she's going to walk away with a 4. See if Kristen, this is for birdie. And she gets it. Kristen Tatar currently on pace for the new course record. She's at 9 under. Take a look at what she's done so far today, opening up on hole number 1 using the backstop. Of course, would go on to birdie from there. Another forehand drive. Setting herself up on hole number 8. That's just deep of the pin. She'd go on to make the putt. She has no problems going to the backhand drive. This with a great skip toward the pin. Easy birdie on hole 16. And then what easily, even though it didn't go in, still one of the best shots we've ever seen here on hole number 17. And thankfully she was still able to convert after drawing metal on the eagle. Kristen Tatar could even get to 10 or 11 under. I don't see her going for the pin off the tee. I do see her playing kind of the safe shot like we just saw by Katrina, then pitching over. But with the par 4 to close out, Kristen could very realistically get this to 10 under.
And as dialed in as she's looked from distance, I think that is a very good possibility. Kristen's got 1 bogey on her scorecard, 10 birdies.
Paige Shue, no problems pitching over. Here's Katrina's second shot. Paige and Kat both tied at 2 under. And we'll see if one or both can get to 3 under.
And that sure takes a lot of that risk and the scariness of hole 18 when you choose to lay up. It makes that water shot less nervy. Throwing straight at the water with an overstable disc. Gets the skip right in the middle of the fairway. Again, think about that type of game plan when the wind picks up. She's going to be throwing that exact same shot. And perfect conditions. Paige Pierce going big.
Gonna close out with a bang. Paige Pierce right around circle's edge here on 18. She'll have an eagle look.
Shots like that, I couldn't say anything because I was censoring myself. But yeah, more power to you when you've got the distance. Love to see it.
have the obvious water OB off to the right-hand side, but just know if things get away from you, that sidewalk there on the left side is out of bounds. So you said it earlier, Val, if you're going to lay up or play something conservative, make sure you're fully committed to it and you know exactly where you want to be, because the last thing you want to do is then throw it OB left when you're trying to play safe. This is Katrina Allen. She's trying to move to 3 under. Good way to close out her round. That should secure Katrina a spot on the chase card if I'm doing some of my U-disking correctly.
But it was a little lackluster. I mean, she had a few bogeys on the scorecard. She didn't string up the birdies like we see out of some of our leaders. So she's got some room to improve. But again, she's right in that position to make a move in the following rounds. Paige Shu, they're tied for 7th with a 3 under. Very solid, but our leaders, they have come out just blazing in this first round. And if they continue like that, I mean, it's going to be really hard to catch. And we mentioned the wind, but it looks like we're going to have some great weather this weekend. So we could be in store for a few more rounds with good conditions like this.
You even see them improve on what we saw today for the scores. Luque over with no problem.
Hole 18 is the second easiest hole on the course at the moment, at 35% of our field being able to get the birdie. No eagles. We'll see if Paige Pierce can change that story.
Caroline looking at about 280 to the pin yet. Kristen also looking to dial it in. We'll see if she can finish out with a birdie. Get her to 10 under. 268 left to the pin. This looks like it's going to go deep, and you don't want it to go too deep because then you do have to actually think about the comeback. Wow, surprising to see her put that much on it. She wanted to make sure that she was safe. Although that is, that was too much power, Val.
Let's see if she sticks to that kind of talk that she's had in last season. If I could see the basket, I'm going for it. This is a scary putt, that's for sure.
Well, we couldn't get all of this incredible insight without the help of Brian, who's on the ground. So one last time, Brian, is there any thoughts you have before we let you go here for the day?
You know, Terry, I do. Paige Pierce showed some serious moments of brilliance. I think the drive on 18 is just a testament to how good she truly is. I think she's going to heat up as this weekend goes on. I think that she's going to get the blood flowing. I think we could very easily see her back up towards the top.
All right, Brian. I would not be surprised by that prediction as you're calling for it. Like I said, Paige just a little off the mark today. Some of her putts short and left. A few of her drives pulled to the right. If she can just make a few minor corrections, I think we'll see her back in world champ form. The question is, will it be as soon as tomorrow or this weekend, or will it be at the next event?
Just a quick layup from Kristen to Tar.
Eagle for Paige Pierce to close out her round.
I think she was listening to Brian. I wonder where he's standing, but wow, yeah, great way to finish. But the stats from Paige today, 58% fairway hits, 40% scramble, 44% C1X putting. To say it was rough, might be an understatement when we're talking about Paige Pierce, but it was just a matter of being slightly off, whether it was the drives, the tee shots, or the putting. It was just barely off.
Paige actually is going to finish at 2 under with that, which is where Katrina Allen finished at 2 under. I was counting one ahead earlier, so they'll finish a tie for 11th as Caroline Henderson is in. Certainly a learning opportunity and experience for her with, as you mentioned, all the cameras, everything else she was under the spotlight for today. And officially in as the new course record, a 9 under effort here by Kristen Tatar today.
And just another day at work for Kristen Tatar. No fireworks from her emotions, but just outstanding shooting. She was able to just string up the birdies and then a very solid finish. 4 under, starting back on hole 13, racking up 4 birdie strokes. 2 ahead of Ella Hansen, who started out on fire and kind of cooled off in the middle of the course. It was more consistent on Kristen Tatar's scorecard.
65 for me. 58 for Crystal. 69, Luca.
Good walking with you. Thanks. We're family.
Well, and Kristen with that 9 under, and I'm going to go ahead and say it feels like she almost even just left one out there. Hole 18, you and I were all but chalking up, expecting to see a 3 from her, and that she'd tack on yet one more onto her scorecard. Clearly not taking anything away from the effort, but that easily could have even been one better.
Sure, and she got a bogey on hole 11, so there's one more out there.
Yeah.
But that is just nitpicking what an amazing round she did have.
Yeah, and I think back to hole number 11, we saw her off the fairway on that short left side. She had the forehand approach to try and get up there. She hit the one tree that then kicked her back to having another circle's edge putt, and then she even drew metal on that. So nearly flawless day out there, just 1 or 2 tiny little mistakes for Kristen Tatar. But if there was any question about when Kristen comes back after her injury, she steps into 2023, she makes the international venture over here to Waco, Texas, and if she would pick up where she left off last year, I think she's answered that question today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that Kristen has not finished off the podium in any elite or major event on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, but one stat, she has never won her first event when she comes back to the U.S. So this could be the weekend. We know she was so close last year, but this could be it if she continues to play as well as she did today.
Well, she's trying to separate herself from the field early on. Again, that 2-stroke advantage over Ella Hansen. And maybe even more importantly, the rest of the field is 4 behind or more after this opening round. And of course, we're opening round here at Waco, but we're not going to be able to close out our show until we give you the OTB shot of the day. That's going to be the other side of this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Check out the whole lineup at clashdisc.com.
What people are going to notice when they pick up the Supreme Series is superior grip, superior durability.
The plastic feels great, and it's going to be something you're always going to want to reach for.
To anybody sitting on the couch that hasn't played disc golf,
Get off the couch, get some exercise, get some fresh air and sunshine. Sunshine gives you vitamin D3. That's the best thing you can do. Sorry.
What makes the Halal Guys so deliciously different? You might have heard of our famously long cart lines that NYC fans happily stand in. Today, with over 100 plus restaurants across the globe, we are your place to experience authentic American halal. Enjoy our delicious falafel, Euro sandwich, platters, and sides topped with our famously flavorful white and hot sauces. Order online today and taste how we make different so delicious. The Halal Guys, bringing something deliciously different to the table.
This looks perfect. Off the basket. Now it's rolling. It's headed for the OB. This needs to sit. Oh my goodness. It's safe. Right on the line. She's going to have about a 30-foot putt for the win. Okay, here we go. The putt is up. Boom, it's in. Strong side with authority. What an incredible moment. Yes. Kristen Tatar opening up today's tournament with a 9-under effort. Forehands, backhands, putter, everything looked good out here today for Kristen. Getting a nice drift from left to right up there on hole number 5. That was one of a few where she put him inside the bullseye. No putting required. In fact, she was just leaving her bag on for a number of these. Umbrella in one hand, bag on her shoulder, tapping in for birdies. Sounds like a solid morning out here in Waco, Texas for Kristen Tatar.
She had so many tee shots that were perfectly executed, just dialed up so nicely. But then she did have some struggles in the woods. She was able to overcome that, but not from this highlight reel. Take a look at 17's upshot once again. Almost rolling out of bounds, stays safe, hits the putt, gets the birdie. Just so outstanding and accurate with the drives today, and that's what brings her to the 9-under for today's round.
Incredible effort, and we're going to hear more from her. She's down on the green. Let's check in with her along with Brian Earhart.
Kristen, 9 under par, course record. You mentioned in the press conference that you were using this tournament as part of your off-season training just to kind of shake the rust off. How's the training going?
I mean, obviously it's going well. I guess a little resting and just taking time off from disc golf did something good to me. And also I feel like I didn't have any pressure on my shoulders because I knew I had nothing to prove to anyone, so maybe that helped as well. I don't know.
Forehand looked fantastic. The speed control looked fantastic. Backhand, couple solid shots. Couple came out a little early. How is the timing overall feeling with the backhand?
So yeah, backhand is a little bit more tricky. I don't trust it as much because I wasn't able to throw it last year that often, and my focus was on the forehand. So obviously it's coming out a little bit cleaner right now, but I mean, I didn't do any major mistakes. I tried to just control my shots, and I think I did a good job.
Talk about the way this course is playing right now. Obviously the weather is beautiful and the grass is green and the course is looking better than it's ever played. Do you feel like the conditions are going to play to your favor?
Yeah, I mean, to everyone's favor, I feel like, because it's not windy out here. There's nothing to really complain about. Ideal conditions to score well. As you said, course record. I didn't even know that. I mean, it's perfect.
You watched Paige Pierce throw a beautiful drive and get the eagle on 18. Is that a shot that you've practiced at all, or are you pretty disciplined on taking the 3?
No, I didn't even try because right now I'm not even doing maximum drives with my backhand, so I'm not even thinking about it. Season is just starting for me, so I'm trying to not injure myself again. So just really controlled shots is the name of the game for me.
Well, obviously paid off. New course record, 9 under par. Kristen, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
And so great to hear from her and talking about how she's not even throwing maximum distance shots right now. And she feels like everything for the most part is clicking. It's going to be interesting to see when she feels like she does have a little bit of pressure and she has her backhand dialed in. I feel like that's an even more deadly Kristen Tatar.
Yeah, and maybe that elbow injury and the just having surgery gets her in that mind frame. I mean, to me, I'm thinking she's the #1 player. She's the world champion. Sorry, I think that was Paige.
Yeah, no,
that
she
was her.
Disc Golf
Okay.
Pro Tour Player of the Year.
Whew.
You're right. Yep.
Thank you. But there's so much pressure to defend all those titles and all those accolades in the following year, and maybe because she's had to kind of overcome this injury and find her way back into the game, that's allowed the pressure to kind of be relieved, and she's in that mind frame of, all right, just play well, don't push it. I just want to continue playing. I want my body to be healthy to continue to play. And so I think that's really favorable for her, to have her expectations kind of within her reach, and she's able to do it. And if that involves a course record or 2, yeah, more power to her.
No big deal. As she said, she's also looking forward to the favorable conditions. Hopefully we're going to see those throughout the weekend. I think we have to then start talking about Ella Hansen, who's closest to her. She's 2 behind, but closest to her. Ella Hansen, the only time that she's come up short of wins, it feels like she fades when it comes to the putter. So is that a matter of experience? Is that a matter of just years on tour? Is that something maybe that's mental? What do you feel like that's going to need to be for Ella Hansen to continue to not only push Kristen, but then possibly just find a win of her own, regardless of what everyone else is doing?
It's all mental for Ella. I feel like there were so many putts today that she was so nervous standing over it. And when you're scared that you're going to miss, you're going to miss. I mean, you have to have that mentality that we see out of our top competitors. There are no nerves. Seemingly no nerves when you see Kristen step up to a putt, or when Paige is on, so confident, and there's not a doubt in their mind that they're going to miss. And that's the type of mentality Ella needs to get more confident with that putter, because she is very skillful in all parts of her game. She just needs a little bit more confidence when it comes to putting.
Well, I don't know if the halal guys offer up shakes, but I'm feeling like we're seeing a shakeup within the top 10. Because when you look at it, you're seeing Kristen Tatar, she's a given. She's always going to be up there. Of course, you mentioned she never finishes off the podium. But when you look at the next 8 or 9 women on this top 10 list that you're seeing on your screen right now, those aren't necessarily the 8 or 9 that you would have predicted. And that's part of the course. That's part of the distance. That's part of them just going out and playing well. But when you're seeing someone like Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen not even in your top 10, that's where I think of the shakeups. And that's where I think of it'll be exciting to see who can show up tomorrow, who can duplicate the effort that they put out there today. Of course, we've seen all of these moments of glory by the likes of Haley King and what she's won and what she's accomplished. Saya Nanda, we always have her in the conversation when she's at tournaments. She's more committed this year than ever before. Paige Shue, world champion, and so on and so forth. But when you're talking about overall consistency, it's going to be exciting to see if they can step up and prove and say, hey, we're in the top 10 and we belong here in the top 10 and we're going to stay there. So, wow, it's been an incredible day. I get excited just thinking about what we're going to see out there at Waco tomorrow. But now we're going to be able to close out our FPO action. And the only way we can do that is with the best shot of the day. Let's take a look at it now.
surprises here. This shot for Kristen Tatar. Again, look where she's throwing from. It's a blind shot. She just knows that that forehand needs to come back into bounds, hit short of the pin, and hit short of going in the basket.
It's so crucial that not only does it check up, but that she makes the putt. Feels like it would have been disappointing otherwise, but we've got more exciting golf all planned for you the rest of the weekend. Of course, our MPO action coming in at 2:30 this afternoon. And just keep in mind, Sunday is going to be our daylight savings hour. So we're going to see that at 10 a.m. for the FPO action and 3:30 p.m. That's all Central Time for the MPO action. For Valerie Jenkins and Brian Earhart out on the course, I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you this afternoon.